Alors, on va entrer dans la session, on va dire, la séquence crypto, avec une première table ronde où on va parler des systèmes d'échange monétaire international, qui est pas un nouveau sujet, mais il y a eu beaucoup de nouveautés ces derniers mois. Et pour en parler, évidemment, quand on parle de crypto, on parle forcément en termes de médias de The Big Whale. Donc je suis ravie que Raphaël Bloch, cofondateur de The Big Whale, anime cette séquence.
Thank you. Yeah. Merci beaucoup, Charlie. So yeah, this roundtable will be in English. So hello everyone, welcome. I'm Raphaël Bloch, one of the co-founder of The Big Whale, which is the leading European crypto media. I'm very glad to be with you on stage to talk about international money system and payment. We have the chance to have Axel, Bertrand, and Chris to talk about it. Maybe, guys, could you just introduce yourselves, and after I will have many questions for you.
Hi, so Axel Cateland, I'm the CEO and founder of Kulipa. We are a crypto card issuer, so we enable wallets and centralized exchanges and fintechs to issue cards that have the capacity to spend crypto and stablecoin.
Bertrand Godin, I'm one of the co-founder and CEO of Fipto, who is a payment infrastructure leveraging stablecoin for corporates and financial institutions.
And hi there, my name is Chris. I have two hats. One hat is I'm founder and CEO of a mobile payment scheme called Bluecode. And the second hat is I'm chairman at EMPSA, which is an association of all mobile payment systems that are live today in Europe.
Thank you very much. I would like to start with one simple question. So the title of the roundtable is about a truly seamless system. So of course it's not already seamless, but where comes the complexity and why the system is, so inefficient? Maybe Chris, if you want to start with this.
I'll focus, and we have different angles on this. My focus is on the end consumer paying in retail. So the B2C paying in retail. And it is somewhat seamless because two companies govern the technical, legal, and commercial ways how money moves. That's Visa and MasterCard. 600 billion market cap, a beautiful EBITDA margin, amazing systems. And then you have around 70 domestic systems that try to organize how payment is done in their respective region. You know some of the Europeans, Swish in Sweden and Bancomat in Italy and Bizum in Spain. There's 11 QR code systems, there's 9 card systems, and so that's around 100 million people organized very locally. And then around the world you have the Alipay networks, and you have the Discover networks, and you have government-forced networks like UPI and Pix. So there's a lot, as you said, of complexity with 5 major ones and then about 80 local ones. And that makes it, of course, quite tricky.
And so, the same question for you, Axel and Bertrand. So many players, but is it a problem of, the cost, the interoperability of those systems? What's your point of view about this?
I think there are many, multiple problems, multiple layers of problems. We mentioned Visa, MasterCard. Full disclosure, I used to work for MasterCard, so I might be biased. I think what MasterCard and Visa have done, and if you look at the history of Visa, MasterCard, they were born in the US, but as non-profits, they were an association of all of the US banks to try to define one or two standards of payment, and I think that's what Chris is trying to do at the global level. And what Visa, MasterCard have done is they are a trusted third party that enable banks to transact. You don't. Your bank that issues your card doesn't need to know the bank of the issuing, giving a terminal to a merchant on the other side of the world. And that trust is what enables a merchant to accept your card even if they don't even know the name of the bank that issued the card. So I think that's what the trust that is there is one of the things that they've managed to create. They also have developed the trust is also what's behind the fact that you don't have to wait for the money to arrive at the merchant to get the goods. And that's not because the money goes, that's one of the big lie of card payments. It's not that the money arrives instantly. I mean, it will arrive instantly with stablecoin and blockchain, but at the moment, it's the merchant lending money to you at the end of the day because they're giving you the goods and they receive the money 3-5 days later. And that's one of the problems that I think stablecoin and blockchain and what this Internet of Payment is going to solve. Whatever the mean of, for me, in payment, you have two things. You have the capture of the intent. That's what Visa, MasterCard have done. So I'm at the terminal. It's me. It's my card. I enter my PIN to prove that it is me. And then you have the way the money moves. And I think that's where the real challenge and what stablecoins are gonna fix.
We will talk about it later. Thank you very much. So you are more on the B2B business, Bertrand. Is it exactly the same thing for corporates?
Yeah, I think in international payment for corporates, what we think mainly as not seamless today is the transfer of money, which has four main issues. First one is that it's not fast enough or not instant enough. If you want to send USD to China from France, it's really unlikely that you're going to do it in a few seconds or even a few minutes. After, it's often too expensive. Can be few euros in the best case, but sometimes a percentage of the transaction, which can be huge. After, it's not predictable enough. Will my payment arrive in 10 minutes, 2 hours, tomorrow? Always hard to know. And it's not always transparent. Once my payment is sent, I know it's sent. Where is it exactly? Now you have few innovations with Swift GPI, but still, it's not very clear about where is my payment in the process. And all of these issues, probably one of the main reasons is the clearing system. Each currency needs ultimately to be cleared by the central bank in its country. So my USD payment is going to go through the US back to China when I do it, which is having a lot of intermediaries and not making it as efficient as possible. And also, but it's an easy one, there is the compliance part, which each institution will have to do things to be able to act in compliance, verifying the name, making sure the transaction is not unusual, and it's always hard to do it very fast and at a cheap cost.
Okay, so 3 fintechs, Kulipa, Fipto, and Bluecode. What are you doing just to improve this payment system? What's your solution? Can you just tell us more about what you are doing, Axel?
Yeah, so what we've done in a nutshell is, as I said, connect the capture of intent of Visa MasterCard to new, it's not that new, but the stablecoin rails, so that we ultimately will enable merchants to receive currency, stablecoin currency, instantly when someone pays with their Kulipa card.
Okay, you, Bertrand?
The main thing we do is to offer accounts in stablecoin for corporates and financial institutions, which allows them to make payment with 1 or 2 intermediaries maximum, sometimes even 0, when you do it directly on the blockchain. And the goal for us is to help traditional payment companies to have access to this tool and to be able to operate on it. So ability to buy and sell stablecoin and transfer with an experience which is as seamless as with an e-banking or through an API of traditional payments.
And just interesting because so you're working on, I would say, totally new rails of payments. Chris, about this, you are more trying to connect the existing system, right?
That's right. As we said, payment is the biggest network product in the world, the most complex network product in the world, because you have thousands of players, millions of merchants, and hundreds of millions or billions of people connected to the network. So you can compare it, if anything, to the SIM card, the telecom space. You could either build a new carrier that spans the world, very tricky, very costly, or you build something in the SIM card world we know as payment, as SIM card roaming. Roaming means you have your contract with your French carrier, you pay them monthly, and that's your relationship legally, technically, and commercially. When you land in Frankfurt, the SIM tower of T-Mobile will be able to talk to your SIM. And because the carriers are connected, you can seamlessly use your French SIM card to do a phone call, send an SMS, or receive your email. We're trying to do the same in payments. As I mentioned before, there's around 80 networks around the world. So I, with my Bluecode, was in Hong Kong a week ago, and the taxi doesn't take cards, which was actually quite interesting. So I scanned with my Bluecode, my European Bluecode, the Alipay Hong Kong QR code, and on the spot I confirmed, for me as a user, this was a Bluecode transaction, like I do it at home. For the merchant, this was an Alipay Plus transaction, as if I had been an Asian. So we're trying to bridge, and we've connected now 70 schemes, so that, of course, in some, is the largest grid you could, acceptance grid you could build.
So guys, it's working. Why are you working on on new rails?
I mean, our rails are also working. Just, I mean, the acceptance and I mean, what we're trying to do is make the settlement faster. I think what Chris is trying to do is make all of the capture of intents interoperable, so that if you, I mean, maybe one day we'll be able to pay a Bluecode merchant or an Alipay merchant with a card because of what Chris has done, and because all of, I mean, if we manage to get all of them to be connected through blockchain and stablecoin, that transaction will be interoperable and instant. And I think that these are two layers of the payment problem. One is making sure that everybody can pay anywhere, whatever type of payment mean they have, and the way they want to pay, but also the fact that the money goes at in internet speed.
Yeah, I agree with you on this. You know, many times for the user, you feel that the payment is instant, but at the end, it's not in the back end. If we take companies doing money remittance, or such as Wise or whatever, often they were offering at the beginning instant payment, but what they were doing is having treasury in two currencies, and if one client wants to convert and pay, they were going to use their own treasury. And at the end, they would settle at the end of the day, probably at different batches, but the money was not really moving instant.
Okay, and what would be the biggest outcome from a more seamless money system of exchange? It's, I mean, more a business. It's more efficient. What's the biggest outcome? I mean,
the speed, the slow speed of money comes with a lot of challenges, like, I mean, working capital for the merchants. As I said, they bought the goods and they give it to you, but they only receive the money 7 days later. So that means 7 days of working capital. Also, the fact that the traditional payment rails only work on work days and don't work on bank holidays. I mean, bank holidays, that's why they have that name. and weekends, that creates counterparty risks. That creates a lot of friction for fintechs. I mean, used to work for a couple of fintechs. Some of these fintechs have millions of euros in a collateral, because the Visa, MasterCard of this world don't want to take that counterparty risk of people spending during the weekend and not being able to pay for this transaction. So the fact that the money moves faster and also moves faster globally will make all of that more efficient for people who need to receive money anywhere in the world. Yeah.
Yeah, indeed, I think for many industries also you have a momentum part where you need the money now or the delivery now. Maybe not when you pay your electricity invoice. Here I don't think it's a big problem, but when you are a cargo which is stuck in a harbor with, I don't know, any fruit, banana, whatever, if the payment doesn't arrive, the cargo doesn't leave. Waiting 3 days because there is a weekend in between and the bank holidays, it's a big issue for the business. So you need to have an instant payment for this. And there are many use cases where it's crucial for the business. You have an opportunity which is for 24 hours only because there was geopolitical event and business opportunity. Then you need the payment to land. And saying your payment is going to take 24, 48 hours, it's, for many industries, it's a big issue.
Yep.
Yeah, go on, Chris.
We mentioned a lot already, so I think for all 4 stakeholders in the game, there is, starting this year already, you saw the Stripe announcement with Bridge and all this. This is the disruptive time. It has started, but now I think the cat is out of the bag. So for the end user, I can now tap and scan all around the world, European. So there's no US card rails involved. So that's one. As a user, I can use both NFC and QR. As a merchant, I think this was well articulated. It can be faster, it can be cheaper. For the banks, this is hugely disruptive. It's the #1 use case of a bank's users and is changing dramatically. But I think the most important one in today's geopolitics is, again, there is 5 networks around the world. Visa, MasterCard, Diners / Discover, which was acquired last Sunday for 35 billion. So you have a third one at the block. And then you have JCB for the Japanese, and you have UnionPay for the Chinese. We don't have a European system in Europe. Roaming, or this federation, gives us a chance to jump, to have European ways to pay within, live, instead of building our own network, which is, in today's world, really, really hard to do. So I think the geopolitics is the most fun one, the most interesting one.
Yeah, and I wanted to add. We're talking about a lot about speed of payment, but I think in some markets it also gives access to some currencies that people couldn't get. Like, we work a lot in emerging markets where people are holding dollars on chain, and that's a way for them to. A good friend of mine. She's from Kenya. Her parents live in Kenya. She lives in London. She has to pay for their Netflix subscription because they don't have a USD way of paying in Kenya, because that's that's limited to a very exclusive part of the population. And the stablecoin and this means of payment that can get global will give that opportunity to people who don't have access to these payment means.
Yep, interesting. And so, what is, according to you, the biggest challenge? Chris, you began by just saying that, okay, this is one of the most complex industry because there are many stakeholders. This is the biggest network. So, where we need to start, to, I would say, upgrade the system and to have a more seamless system and, money system payment.
I think one of the challenge that this global network of money is going to bring is compliance, in a sense that there is no one global compliance framework. So it will create opportunities or challenges for, depending on where you are and how you're regulated, again, Visa, MasterCard, they've created their own global rules. All of the banks that are member of Visa, MasterCard have to respect the same rules. And that's not something that the regulation, the official regulations have developed. And we see what's happening in the US with all of the changes. Everybody's looking at how is it going to impact the global, if they can be perceived as setting the trend for regulation, that might be the case. But at the end of the day, this global network, when we make the comparisons with telcos and internet in general, there are no rules about. There are a few rules, but not that strict about consuming information. There are a lot of rules about consuming money and exchanging money, and that global network somehow will at one point need to have harmonized rules, I believe.
I think one point, is that stablecoin payment is extremely efficient today. It's not easy for any corporates to do it as of now. First way to do it now is to have at least one leg of the trade, which is going back to the fiat system. So the company is going to buy stablecoin and transfer it.
So a stablecoin, so it's crypto based on euro or dollar.
Exactly, or you can have stablecoin, Brazilian real, whatever, But at the end, this part payment stablecoin is going to be extremely efficient. And the fact of buying or selling the crypto, you can do it locally with local transfer, which is often working better than international payments. You have a lot of countries with instant scheme which are working quite well. And you have even a first step if you don't want to touch crypto, which is what we call stablecoin sandwich, which is buying stablecoin and selling them after. To explain concretely, you're a Brazilian company, you want to pay your supplier in the Philippines, so you have Brazilian reals, you want to pay Philippine peso, two great instant payment scheme, but the FX between these two currencies is a nightmare, usually going back to Europe or the US. What you can do is you buy stablecoin in Brazil, so instant Brazilian transfer, you get your stablecoin in a few seconds, we can push to 1 or 2 minutes, and then you transfer the stablecoin to the Philippines and sell them against Philippine peso. It's the same instant payments for all part of it, so you can do Brazil to Philippines within a couple of minutes without touching crypto. So it's a first good use case to start using the advantage of the blockchain, but not touching stablecoin yet.
It's a good one about this.
I think any challenge and any format disruption is usually always following the same principles. You saw it in music, right? There used to be CDs, and now we're all streaming, and there's 4 companies arranging it. It's Amazon, and that's Apple, and that's Google, and that's Spotify. You saw it in video. There used to be DVDs, and now we're all streaming, and it's the Netflixes of the world. You saw it in advertising. You see it in every industry. Now payment is getting smashed in a good way. And so I think what you said is it's not a legal problem, in my view, not a technical problem, not a commercial problem. That's what we're all here for to solve, and I think we've solved it. But now the big question is if Europe plays a role in any of this stuff. Because we have a habit, and I am glowingly happily European. I lived in San Francisco for almost all my life, so I'm here watching Europe now firsthand. This is a nightmare. So if we in Europe either regulate or basically have PowerPoints, we will be surpassed by people who actually build great products.
Okay. I don't want to finish on this note. so sorry, but so one question. Just give us, something not, only positive, but something that, could empower Europe about payment.
I'm all in, yeah. The solutions are there. The way to solve this now is get our act together and actually as banks, because there's so much at stake, actually engage with companies that have solutions and do it. No more PowerPoints and no more talking. Doing.
No, but indeed, I think we have the innovation here as well. Like saying it's only in the US is not true. We need to collaborate with the regulators to make it possible and not to be blocked when we want to do things. Regulation is bringing a lot of constraint from an operational standpoint. You need to develop things, but we still need to be able to operate. And I think it's important that we keep a discussion with the regulator to make sure we don't break innovation and we don't make it impossible with additional constraint compared to other geographical area. And then there is no reason why it wouldn't work, because we have a lot of nice companies here innovating a lot, and we should be able to do it.
And the US and the USD stablecoin have a head start, but I think with what's happening currently in the US, and we also have a very stable and very recognized currency, we for now we have a lot of USD cards, but we have a lot of wallets that are asking for Euro cards because they want to be able to enable users to pay in what looks like, in euros and not in USD, and not have all of that FX in between. So I think we have the technology, we have a stable currency, and we can definitely develop use cases around payments in euro.
It's much better. Thank you. No, thank you very much. A big round of applause, and yeah, thank you guys.